Cornerstone Search Partners recently hosted an audit leadership forum. We sat down with over 30 audit leaders from Chicago corporations to discuss some of the challenges and innovations they've implemented to help keep their projects on schedule while still managing a remote workforce. Here's what they had to say. What changes have you introduced that improved your team's communication and collaboration while working remotely?
We just kind of kicked it off with like a 15-minute icebreaker just to get, the smiles and laughs across the room and everybody used to being on camera. We use Teams. I would say Teams, the implementation of Teams in our group, or at least at our company, was very critical right before kind of March happened. So it was almost, it was like a perfect timing, if you will, if I can say that, right? And so, we used WebEx prior to that. We still do, but I would say the collaboration isn't as seamless as Teams, right? And so we've really embraced the video chatting. I think, having a team in Costa Rica, I've always just kind of talked with them on the phone and the remote aspect has been pretty seamless from that. But getting the team in Deerfield and Costa Rica together, we normally spend time together while we're on site at certain projects. And so we've really lost that ability to really build that team morale and engagement. But with these virtual happy hours and the icebreakers and just having fun, we keep it to 15, 30 minutes of just personal conversations. How's the situation in Costa Rica? How's it in Deerfield? And just kind of sharing, the news of the day, so to speak, and having that personal connection all together. And I think that's really kind of helped the team keep positive.
I could just share a little bit more. Just for me, I have a formal monthly with my boss. It's my agenda, right? So I'll tell him, here's, the good stuff I've done. Here's what I'm working on. Here's what I need help with. Here's some good or bad on the team. And I'll ask for feedback on some things if I want it. And I also could take the opportunity to say, what about promotions or whatever it is, right? In terms of development. And one thing that I've appreciated that our firm has done about a lot of things, whether it's reopening or salaries, is they'll tell you what they know, and they'll also say, we haven't made a decision on XYZ topic. We're thinking about it, but we expect to make a decision in November. And so obviously everyone's thinking about it, acknowledging that they know that they haven't made a decision because they don't have enough information, is just being honest, right? And people are trying to figure this stuff out at the same time. I mean, no one's done anything, had to deal with this. So I think most people appreciate that, that they're not really just putting off the decision. They just have to see and want to make the right decision. So like I said, I have weeklies with my senior manager, and I've just been considering doing, monthlies, let's say, with other team members too, just to check in, see how they're doing, give them the access, and just make sure that they know that they're being heard.
I wouldn't say that it's a struggle necessarily, but one of the things that I've really kind of given a lot of thought to is, as far as like meeting with the team, how much is too much and how much is too little. So you really want to strike a balance between, overloading people's calendars with meetings and making sure that you do have enough touch points. And so I have a team of direct reports of 4 individuals. The team is much greater than that. And obviously I work with people other than my direct reports and have to do ratings on other individuals on the team. But with my direct reports, even if they're not working on projects for me, I want to make sure that there's a cadence that I'm meeting with them continuously. And part of the challenge there is figure out what cadence is too little, too much. So I started with, doing something weekly, which, I quickly became aware. I was like, maybe weekly is a little bit too much simply because, if you're working with other projects, you might have one-on-one meetings every week with like 3 or 4 different managers, and that can be overwhelming a little bit, I think. So we pushed back to bi-weekly, which I think has worked really well. And then, we have broader team meetings, and some of the feedback I got on some of the broader team meetings is these need to happen more often, right? So, we really like meeting with the broader team. So I think a lot of it is just about, making sure that you're consistently communicating, making sure there's the right level of communication and getting feedback, right? I mean, what I think might be the right amount of communication, my team might think, I need more feedback or I need more interaction, not just with my managers, but with other folks on the team. And I think that's really important, especially with everything that's going on, because I think that it's a little bit better to err on the side of being too connected versus not connected enough. And I mean, there's definitely been instances where I've gotten feedback that, you know, we've had a meeting and the feedback has been, this meeting was really good. It needs to happen more often, right?
Right. I also have a quick daily touch points with my direct reports management meeting. So it could be 10 minutes, could be half an hour, depending on what we have. We may not have it, you know, we can always cancel, but it's also video call. We really like seeing each other. It kind of gives you, you know, a sense of really being in one room, if you will. So that's worked really well. In terms of the audit clients, and obviously we're all remote and manufacturing being decentralized, we all went to, you know, a lot of phone calls, emails. You know, I realized that our customers are not very big on video calls. So we're probably mostly like a typical, you know, Skype call or whatnot, but we do, you know, when we know there's appetite from the client side. So I feel like we're actually utilizing more video internally than externally, you know, with our audit clients. But what also worked really well for my team is I periodically have one-on-one calls with each team member. I have a team of 19 auditors. So I make sure that I connect with each one of them personally once in a while, just to make sure that I know exactly, you know, how they're doing, if there's any challenges, anything that they really want to bring up and they didn't have time to, or they were, you know, shy, too new, you know, or whatever else may have been going. So that has been helpful too, as well. And then periodically we have kind of fun things, you know, like a free lunch, you know, basically no work conversations, but just kind of a, you know, talk about whatever you want to talk about, kind of random topics conversations, no work being discussed.
Yeah. I mean, I think similar to, you know, Yulia, we've got kind of just standing meetings. So I just have like open, you know, office hours so the team can come and just ask questions, you know, just even if it's just like a quick half hour just to like connect as a team. Because I think that's the hardest part, right? People feeling like now that you're working remotely all the time, it's like, how do you keep that personal connection, right, with your colleagues and your leaders? So I think, but yeah, you're right, Bridget. Like for us, it's not that much different because we're spread out between like 7 and 8 different cities. So we were already used to, you know, having WebEx meetings, you know, being on calls as a team, having department meetings via calls and stuff like that. So it hasn't changed too much from like a work perspective, I would say. I think that's been pretty status quo, especially with, you know, with our calls with the business, because Schwab is just, is very decentralized, right? So the business is in different locations. So they're very used to just kind of being on webcams and doing walkthroughs via video and us doing our audits via video and just doing it remotely. So I think, yeah, I think for us, it's just the big thing is just making sure that we're, you know, just being more intentional about trying to communicate and connect with the team, trying to do it more frequently. And we've done some, you know, like you hear about Zoom happy hours. So we've done that again, just not talk about work, like literally have a drink and a beer and just kind of relax and kind of get to know each other a little bit more too. So, but yeah, it's hard. Again, I think you just have to be more intentional about it and make sure you're just doing it purposely. Like you're just reaching out more frequently and having touch points more often.
I think we're doing something similar to what you guys mentioned, and we do a daily stand-up meeting for about 10-15 minutes. Every day, 9:15, everybody just go around saying what they did yesterday, what are they planning to do today, and then what are the roadblocks they have experienced. So they can bring it out. During that meeting, we can help them address them at that time. So that would be just 15 minutes every morning. And then we have a more in-depth weekly meeting once a week as well on Tuesdays, and to go over all projects that we have, understanding the status of each project. And I also have weekly touch points with each of my direct reports as well.
We've been actually switching technology. We're moving away from Skype now. And I think we're going to start, I don't want to say requiring it, but start using it more often. But I do have a weekly meeting with my team where I just from the outset said we're going to use video on this one meeting. And it's funny because people, you know, you can't just roll out of bed. I'm not saying people are like dressing up for the meeting, but you got to put a little bit more effort into it. And so I think they like knowing, okay, for this one meeting, I know, and I can prepare and I can be on video.
Right.
Yeah.